Hi, thanks for joining me today. I hope you're all doing well. We're going to work on our classic Surya Namaskar. So I'm going to take you through that flow today, and we'll do many other flowy things as well. So grab your comfiest yoga clothes, grab your mat, and we'll go ahead and get started. Coming to the top of our mat, we're going to go ahead and get started. So big inhale here as we sweep our arms overhead, and then we exhale, bring those hands through heart center. And again, big inhale, sweep those arms overhead. With our exhale, we swan dive down. We plant our hands and we step that right leg back, coming into our lunge. Inhale here, exhale, step that left leg back. We drop our knees, we drop our chest, and then we slide ourselves forward as we untuck our toes. Our chest comes slightly away from the mat. Tuck those toes, press up into plank, back into downward dog. We come to lunge on the other side. We bring that left leg all the way through. Pardon me. We bring that right leg all the way through, coming to our lunge here. And then once we're here in this low lunge, we step that left leg forward, finding our forward fold. Big inhale here, exhale, sweep those arms up overhead. Bringing your hands through heart center. We'll do that again. So big inhale, sweep those arms overhead. Exhale, hands through heart center. Inhale, sweep those arms overhead. Exhale, we swan dive down. We come to our forward fold, plant our hands, step that right leg back. Find our low lunge here. Step that left leg back. Drop our knees, drop our chest, untuck those toes as we slide our heart forward. We can lower our chest, tuck those toes, press up into plank and back into downward dog. Taking a moment here. Bring that left leg forward. Coming into lunge on the other side. And then we step that right leg forward, coming into our forward fold. Big inhale here, flat back, long arms. Sweep our arms all the way up, and then exhale through heart center. We're gonna do that 2 more times. So big inhale, sweep those arms up. Exhale through heart center. Inhale, sweep those arms up. Exhale, we swan dive down to the mat. Find that forward fold. Plant that hand, step that left leg back. Step that left leg back. We're on our right side in our lunge. Then we step back into our plank. We drop our knees, untuck our toes, drop our chest, slide forward. Then we tuck our toes, we press ourselves up into our plank, back into our downward dog. And we bring that left leg forward, come into that low lunge. Step that right leg forward, find our forward fold. Big inhale here, exhale, flat back, long arms. Root to rise, sweep ourselves all the way up. Bring our hands through heart center. 1 more time through this flow. Big inhale, sweep those arms up. Exhale, hands through heart center. Big inhale, sweep those arms up. Exhale, fold yourself forward. Find that forward fold. Step that right leg back, coming into your low lunge. Step that left leg back. Drop your knees, untuck your toes. Drop your chest, slide out. Drop your chest, tuck your toes, press your hips up and back. Bring that left leg forward, coming into your lunge. Then bring that right leg forward, find your forward fold, and then sweep those arms all the way back up overhead. Whew. We'll pause here for a moment, taking 3 breaths here. One more breath here. And then we'll sweep those arms overhead. Forward fold. Plant those hands and hop or step back into your plank. And we'll press back into that downward dog. We're gonna do more with that lunge today. So we're gonna bring that right leg high. Look at our hands, bring it all the way through. This time we're gonna drop our back knee, untuck our toes. And we're gonna shift that back leg or that left knee behind our hip as we start to drive our right leg forward. Come onto our tips of our fingers and have a nice flat back. Inhale here. And exhale. 1 more round of breath. And then we'll plant our hands, come onto our toes, and then we'll bring both of our hands to the inside of our foot. We're gonna find a twist to both ways. So we'll start with the inside, open up that arm. We want our left arm actively pressing away. You can drop your knee at any time if you'd like. One more breath here. And then drop that right hand, left arm comes up. Drop that left hand. Take that right hand to the outside of the left foot. We're going to step back into our plank and press back into our downward dog. Same thing, other side, left leg comes high. We look at our hands, we bring it all the way through. We drop that back knee, untuck our toes, shift that left knee forward. And if we want more from this hip, we start to drop or drive our right knee behind our hip. We're on the tips of our fingers. We pull our belly button in and we breathe. One more breath here. And then we'll come onto our toes. We'll walk our hands to the inside of our feet. We press that right arm down, that left arm comes up, and we breathe. If you'd like to drop your knee, there's always that option. 2 more breaths here. And then the left hand comes down, right arm comes up. And then drop that hand, and this time we're going to step our foot forward. We're going to come into a wider stance, so our feet are wide. We're at the top of your mat, so they're a little bit wider than your hips. And we're going to start to bend and straighten our knees. We're getting ready for Malasana here, so one more time we bend our knees and straighten them. And so for those of you who may not have that mobility yet, you can just start to shift your hips back into a low squat and hold your hands at your heart center. If you have a little bit more mobility in this, you can start to sink your hips between your feet. Your elbows come to your knees, your torso's up nice and tall, your hands are in front of your heart. And you breathe. We'll plant our hands, we'll press our knees up, walk our feet together. We're at the top of our mat with our feet together. Inhale here, exhale, sweep our arms overhead and bring our hands to heart center. We're going to come to our tree pose here. So planting your left foot, and your right foot has 3 options. So you either come to your kickstand where your toes are on the ground, your heels on your ankle, you come to your shin, or you can come all the way to your thigh. Wherever you're at, just find some balance, and we're thinking about opening up this knee. So we're trying to press it behind us. We reach those arms long overhead. And we breathe. And we can sway a little if we'd like to. 2 more breaths here. Bring your hands together and drop them to heart center, and then drop that right leg. We'll switch sides, so plant that right foot. That left foot comes to wherever is comfortable. Not each side is the same. So they won't feel the same, they'll feel different. Once you're steady, you can start to open up those arms wide, and you can sway if you'd like to. Bring those hands together, drop them through heart center, drop that foot. We'll make our way back to the top of our mat. Once we're here, we're going to come into our warrior 3. So we're going to come to a forward fold first by sweeping our arms overhead. Big inhale. Exhale, fold ourselves forward. We can come onto our tips of our fingers, or we can plant our hands on the ground. Pardon me. We're not coming to splits. I was going to take you to standing splits pose. So stand back up. Bring your hands to your hips or to your heart center, whatever feels best for you. And we're just coming into another balance pose. So we plant our left foot and we start to kick our right leg back. Now you play with this, make it your own. If you're able to kick that leg all the way back as you bring your arms by your side, palms facing up. We want a straight line from our head to our toe. But if you're just right here, that is totally fine. Wherever you're at is great. We're working on our balance. We're pulling our abdominals in. 2 more breaths here. And 1 more breath here. And then we'll just come back up nice and tall, step that right foot there. Now we'll come to the other side. So if you want your hands at heart center or on your hips, whatever feels good for you, we plant that right foot and we start to kick our left foot back. We want to lead with our heel of our foot because we're keeping our hips down. A lot of people like to Open up your hips. Let me show this. So a lot of people like to turn their hips over, but we want our hips to be turned down, and we want to lead with our heels. We press our heel up, turn our hips down, pull those abdominals in, and then our arms can be long behind us, palms facing up. We're in a nice straight line from toe to head. 2 more breaths. 1 more breath. And we'll stand up tall, drop that left foot. We're going to come to a forward fold here. So big inhale, sweep those arms overhead. Exhale, fold yourself forward. Just taking your time here, about 4 breaths. Letting your head become heavier, finding some length through the back of your legs. One more breath here. And then we'll plant our hands and hop or step back into that plank. Once we're in our plank, we'll shift our hips up and back. Coming into our downward dog. Taking 3 breaths here. We're gonna lift that right leg. We're gonna bring it all the way through, coming to our lunge again. This time though, we're gonna come up nice and high. We're gonna reach those arms up high. We're gonna find length through that back leg. We're gonna tilt our pelvis so we engage those abdominals properly. And breathe. 2 more breaths here. And 1 more breath here. And then bring those hands to heart center. We're gonna find a twist. So we're gonna hinge forward, drop that elbow to the knee, and start to press our heart towards our hands. 2 more breaths here. Come back to center. Reach those arms overhead 1 last time. 2 breaths here. And then plant your hands, step back into that plank. Press yourself back into that downward dog, holding it here. Lift that left leg high. Look at your hands, bring it all the way through, finding that lunge position. So nice long back leg. We're pressing actively through our foot. Press into that front leg. Woo. Don't fall over, reach your arms up high. Bring those hands through heart center. We'll find that twist here. So hinge forward, right elbow to left knee, and we use that elbow to press deeper into this twist. And we come back to center. We reach those arms up 1 last time. 2 breaths here. We fold ourselves forward, step back into that plank. We're gonna hold it here. Actively press that mat away from you. Pull your abdominals and press through those heels. Nice straight line here. And then we'll shift up and back into that downward dog. We're gonna come to our lizard pose. So we'll lift that right leg high. We'll bring it all the way through. We'll drop. Actually, we'll scoot that left knee back so it's behind our hips. Then we start to walk that right foot out to the edge of our mat. We can stay right here, untucking those back toes and trying to drive that left hip towards the mat. You can stay here, or you can start to fold yourself onto your forearms. Not both sides are the same, so I think on this side I can do it the other side. I struggle to get my elbows to the mat. Let's take a couple breaths here. 2 more breaths here. 1 more breath here. Bring your hands up or come to your hands, and then start to shift your hips back. Walk that foot to center and find a forward fold. And then we'll plant that foot. We'll walk forward, planting our hands, tuck those toes, step back into plank. We're here again, holding it here. One more breath, you can do it. And shift your hips up and back. Bring that left leg high. Look at your hands, bring it all the way through. Coming to that lizard pose, so we scoop back on those right toes so we can drop that knee behind our hip. Walk that left foot out to the side. Plant your hands. Drive that right hip down to the mat. Get deeper into those hips. And you can come onto your forearms if you'd like. Come back onto your hands. Walk that foot between your hands. Start to shift your hips back, turn those toes up to the ceiling, finding a nice hamstring stretch here. We'll plant that left foot. We're gonna bring our hands to the inside of that left foot, step that knee back. Come to a child pose, open up those knees wide, big toes touch, sit your hips back, walk your hands forward. But this time, we're gonna come onto our fingertips. We're getting into those shoulders. So you can walk those fingertips away from your head and then drop your forehead. Pull your abdominals in here, staying active, and keep breathing. We'll walk those hands by our head, press ourselves up, cross those ankles, sit our hips behind and bring those legs through. We're gonna come to a reverse tabletop. So I like to bring my hands a little bit wider than my shoulders. I press my shoulders up. Then my feet, I walk in slightly. They're next to my glutes. They're as wide as the bony part of my hips. Inhale here, gazes forward. Exhale, press those hips up. Let my head drop behind me. I'm actively pressing through my hands and my feet. 2 more breaths here. Squeeze those glutes and hamstrings. And drop down. Next, we're gonna come to our boat pose. So we sit up nice and tall. You can have your hands behind your thighs. I'll show you a modification. So we lift those feet off the ground and we can stay right here with a nice tall torso, flat back, abs pulled in. If you want more, you start to extend those legs. Open up those arms wide like you're holding a volleyball. 3 more breaths here. 2 more breaths here. Last one. Bring those feet to the ground and start to lower yourself all the way down. Once you're there, bring those knees wide, those feet, soles of your feet to touch, and take 3 rounds of breath here. And then bring those knees back in towards center and bring your knees into your chest. You just have your hands on your knees. 2 more breaths here. And 1 more breath here. My hands interlace, come to my right shin. My left leg comes long, flex both of my feet. Switching legs, left leg comes in. Right leg comes long. Keep those feet flexed and breathe. And next we can bring both our legs up over our head. If you want to come into candlestick, you can start to kick those legs up and then bring your hands right underneath your hips. And then start to bring those legs over your hips, trying to make a straight line. And breathe. And then we can slowly lower ourselves back down to the mat. We're going to come to our bridge pose. So arms long on the mat, palms facing down. Big inhale here, exhale, press those hips up. Let's hold it here for 4 breaths, actively pressing those arms and hands into the mat, arms and feet into the mat. And 1 more. And drop back down. Bring those knees into your chest 1 more time. You can make yourself into a ball. Squeeze those legs together. Bring your forehead to your knees. And then release, let it go. Long arms, long legs. Roll out those wrists and ankles. Big inhale here, exhale. Bring those arms long by your side. Let your feet be wide, your legs be wide. And we'll get comfortable here in our Shavasana pose. You can wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes. You start to bend one leg and then the other. Taking 2 breaths here with your hands on your belly. Then bend your left arm, rolling onto your left side, cradling your head with that left arm. 2 more breaths here. And then press yourself all the way up. Coming to a comfortable seated position. Bring your hands to heart center. And thank yourself for being here. Take a moment to check in with your body, see how you feel. Being thankful for hopefully feeling good, feeling strong, feeling ready to take on the day or to end the day. Whichever it is, I hope you have a great rest of the day, the whole day, or the end of the day. And we'll see you again soon. Bye.